Good morning, FlossTube. This is Robin. Thank you so much for coming back to my channel. It's Lady Robins. I'm also Lady Robins on Instagram, so you can follow me on 2 social media platforms if you're interested. Today is actually Wednesday. It is the 16th of June. I apologize for being a day late, but life got in the way yesterday. My parents, it was their wedding anniversary, June 15th. That is a big day for them, and it was a big day yesterday. They have been married for 64 years, so I ended up having the parents over for dinner, and that was nice, and my sister came. So we had a little family gathering celebrating my parents' 64th wedding anniversary, and it was super cute. I was asking them what they remembered from the day, and my dad remembered that he was 21 years old when he got married, and I'm thinking, oh my gosh, I didn't get married till I was like, how old was I? 34, 35, something like that. Anyway. I was like, man, you guys were babes in the woods when you got married, but they've been together all this time, and they're happy together. And my mom is adorable. She still calls my dad Mr. Wonderful. So it's such a nice example for, you know, my sister and I and our extended family, and also our son. So anyway, that's why I'm a day late. So happy anniversary, Mom and Dad. And as long as I'm saluting them, here is our mug of the day. It is the Canada mug, and this is in my beloved Starbucks You Are Here mug collection. So nothing super interesting this morning. I am just having brewed coffee, and I need the coffee. I stayed up way too late watching the silly TV last night, so I am sleepy. So cheers. Okay, so what are we going to get up to today? Of course, we're going to talk whips. We're going to talk plans. I've got the giveaway winners to announce, a little Stitchy Kindness, and books. So that should round out our time together. And then, of course, I can't spend forever doing this because today is a work day for me. So let's get to it, shall we? I thought I would just shake things up and maybe do things in reverse order. Normally people announce the giveaway winners at the end of their videos. I'm going to do it right up front. Let's just do that, shall we? So if you remember, I had 2 Waxing Moon design charts that are in my stash. This one is a duplicate, and so I thought I would give these away. So without further ado, the winner for Search the Skies, which is kind of our Christmas stitch. I want to get this in the mail to you right away, so if you want it up on display for Christmas, you'll have plenty of time to stitch it. Marty Green, you are the winner. I had 29 people comment that they would like this chart, so thank you for all those nice comments. Our YouTube random comment picker selected Marty, so Marty, I will get that in the mail, and like I said, I'm just going to figure out what envelope that will fit in, and I'll send it off to you. And then for our second one, the Valentine Trio Houses, which couldn't be sweeter, but I know I will never get around to stitching it. I ran this one also through the YouTube random comment selector, and Amber Johnson, you are the winner for this, so I will get this in the mail to you also. And Amber's comment cracked me up because I had said, you know, I might have to fold it depending on what envelopes I have in the house, and Amber said she wanted to stitch this, and she said fold it as ever. However many times you need to, which I thought was super kind. Thank you, Amber. I will see if I can keep it to a minimum so I can get this out. So I will try to get these out in the mail before Saturday. The other thing that's coming up is we are taking a little bit of time off, and we are going to go spend 4 days at the cabin. 4 whole days. Yes! Those kayaks are calling my name, and it's supposed to be a fabulous weekend here in the lower 80s, so that's perfect kayaking weather. So yay, yay! So I want to get these out in the mail before we disappear to the cabin for a few days. And I've already got an idea of what I want to take with me to the cabin for stitching, so we'll talk about that as well. Books! You guys, let's talk books for half a second. I finally is probably the right word. I started reading the first Monica Ferris book in the Needlework Mystery Series, and I noticed on Audible that they have a free download, and I think it's of the first 3, maybe 4 books in that series, so I didn't have to pay anything to download the audiobook, and I started listening to it, and I'm going to tell you the truth. I don't like the reader. That reader is not my jam. So I have switched over to the ebook. I am reading it on my tablet. I am enjoying the story so much more now that I'm not listening to it. The reader drove me crazy. She has a real, it's almost like she took classes on how to enunciate, and there's so many S's and T's that are finished. No, she's not my thing. So anyway, reading it is working out much better for me than listening to it. So that's my little review on the Audible book of Crewel World. And I have to shout out Erin, who is Perpetual Project, sorry Erin. She's a floss tuber, and she has been messaging me, and she found the pattern that is in the book, and she found a conversion to DMC floss, and I am thrilled to have that. I have not started that yet, but it's out there, you guys, and Erin has helped me find that, so that is super fun. And then another kind of Stitchy Kindness, because I really consider the messages that I'm getting from Erin a true Stitchy Kindness. I got a few things in the mail. I actually got a nice thank you card from Jodi, who won some of my last chart giveaways. So thank you for the thank you card, Jodi. That was so fun to have that show up in my mailbox. I appreciated that. And then the other thing, pardon my reach as I get off camera just ever so slightly, is Anna, who is in Australia and who is on Instagram. She is not a sock in sight, which I think is hysterical. She sent me this beautiful postcard, and it's got a sailboat on it, so you know they love it. And then she has sent me all sorts of those yummy prim needles, including gold-plated ones. So, Anna, thank you for these needles. I can see that I've got that upside down. So, I am stitching with the prim needles, and I love them. And so, Anna, thank you so much. I really, truly appreciate this. Okay, so since I'm doing things backwards, should we talk about my plans? No, let's not. Let's dive into the stitching, shall we? Because that's what you're here for. It is a FlossTube channel. So I did a little stitching this week. I did not get as much done as I would have liked, but that's how I feel every week. I wish I had more time, right? I did stitch on, I'm consulting my little calendar where I keep my notes. I stitched on Mary Notes twice, Summer House twice, Quaker Turtle once, and Little Women, the new SAL from the Stitching Book Club, twice. So let me show you my progress. Mary Notes, that should be right on top over here. And this is in a yummy project bag. And I think this might be, I can't say for sure. Oh yeah. It's one of the So Much to Love project bags, which is perfect because little Christmas winter themed bag is perfect for Mary Notes. So in case you don't know what that is, it is a shepherd's bush chart, and it is stitched 1/2, and I believe I am stitching this on Lambswool is is what I'm stitching that on. Yeah, that's what it is. And so I pretty much started this last week, and that is where I've gotten to on Merry Notes. I think these little reindeer are adorable. And then of course Santa and his sleigh is going to be there. There's going to be snowflakes around it. And I even have the button pack that finishes this off. So this is beyond 2 days of stitching. It's also one of my whip go calls. So I have placed a total of 3 days of stitching on this piece, and for whip go I have declared I want to stitch on this for 5 days, the month that it's called. So I still have 1 more day to finish off my whip go goal. Say that 3 times fast. And then I'll have completed half of my whip go for the month. So that was my stitching on Merry Notes. And I have to admit, I always am slow to start those notes. My girlfriend Lynn, she loves doing all the shepherd's bush note patterns, and she has, I don't know, 3, 4, maybe 5 of them stitched up. She does a fantastic job on them, and she is kind of ramping up my love for the shepherd bush notes pattern, because that's the second one that I've worked on. The first one is the Halloween one, which is finished, and it's even framed, you guys. It's a complete FFO, which is fantastic. So in just a few months, I'll get to have that out and on display, and it'll be fun. And that will be fun to have that up and ready for Christmas. So I'm looking forward to more stitching on Merry Notes. Okay, so the other thing that I got a couple of days in on is the I call it Summer House. It's by Rovaris, and it is in the latest Punch Needle and Primitive Stitcher magazine. So if you're not subscribed to that, head on out and at least find a copy at your local Michael's or Joann's. And so I just printed this out. I have a subscription to that magazine, and the cool thing is when you're a subscriber to the magazine, they include a link to their digital archive. So I was able to pull up the latest issue and then just print this out on my printer at home, which was fantastic, because I find stitching out of a magazine is really tough, because you have to bend this, break the spine to get it to lay flat, and then I don't know about you, but it usually slides onto the floor. So so anyway, here's what I'm stitching on. And I got 2 days of stitching on that. So I think when last we met, I was working on finishing the H. So I got the H completely done. I got the buoy in the middle finished, and then I got all the waves across the top done. So that is super fun. I'm not doing the called for flosses because I didn't have them. So I ended up having to pull 3 flosses out of my stash. And so I am part of the Color and Cotton monthly floss club. So I didn't have the dark blue or the red or the orange in my DM that was called for. So I picked red woolen mittens for my red. I picked royal blue for the dark blue in the chart, and then I picked tiger lily as my orange, which will be the fun crab. But then of course I did have the rest of the DMCs, so that's super fun to be working on that. And I'm just having a blast. And this is part of Colorado Cross Stitchers cross stitch camp. So for June, you're supposed to stitch a piece that you were inspired by somebody else to stitch. And so if you want to be entered into the prizes, you need to start and finish the piece in a month. This is a little guy. I think I can get this finished by the end of June, but I'm not that hung up on prizes. it's like everybody says, you know, I hardly ever win prizes, so, you know, that's not my motivation. My motivation really is to get the stitching done, and I definitely want to get that done and finished and up on display on my dining room table. So I'm motivated to get that done quickly. Oh, and the other thing I wanted to say, one of you lovely viewers pointed out that you thought that perhaps on the Sunny Days Prairie Schooler, those little minis that I'm doing, that the anchor back stitching was off on one of them. I went and looked. It's okay. But thank you for telling me to go check it out, because I would have been sad if I had finished it and it was wrong. But it's okay. We're good. But if you ever think I've made a boo-boo, feel free to let me know. I make boo-boos all the time, and a lot of times I don't catch it, so I appreciate you guys looking out for me. I really do. Okay, so we've talked about Merry Notes. We've talked about Summer House. Let's talk about Quaker Turtle. I only got 1 day in on this. I really thought I was going to get 2 days of stitching in on Quaker Turtle. Didn't happen. I had 1 day where I was just so completely tired, just tired, that I could not stitch. The thing sat in my lap and I just held it. So in case you haven't seen this before, this is Quaker Turtle, and I am doing this as a SAL, a stitch along with all of you lovely floss tubers. Come and join me. Our hashtag is Quaker Turtle SAL, and I am stitching this on a 32 count antique white. And last week when we were together, I showed you that I had finished a flipper, and now I'm just starting the big motif here between the two flippers. So I'm working on that. I don't have much to show you on that, but I just started working on the big outline for that, and that's where I'm at on Quaker Turtle. Yeah, I love stitching on this. This is so fun because it's on, you know, it's on a white fabric. It's only got one floss, which is super fun. So it's a great stitch if you're stitching with others, or you don't have much brain power left because it's the end of the day and you're tired. You don't have to worry about color changes and all that stuff. Just thread up your needle and start stitching. So even though I was tired and I didn't have much brain power, I just held it. And then the next day I stitched on it. That's okay. Some days are like that, right? I'm not mad. We're all fine here. Okay, so that is my Quaker Turtle. Let me put that back in my yummy bag. Okay, so the last thing that I got up to is the Stitching Book Club. If you are part of that, you know exactly what I'm going to talk about. The Stitching Book Club dropped the first part of their Little Women SAL, and so I got to start on that. So this is part 1, so that's what we're going to be stitching, and I got a good start on it. So here we are. I got that top border done, and I am just starting on filling in, working on the lettering for Little Women. And this is by Kristen, who is the designer for Sapphire Mountain Handcrafts, and she also is the gal who came up with the idea of the Stitching Book Club. So I am starting on that, and I'm trying to remember, I'm using all the called for flosses, and then this is a 28 count Ivory Jobelin. So that's what I'm stitching on. And I gotta say, It's been a while since I stitched on a 28 count. Boy, is that fun. Yeah. You get good progress pretty quick. Although I will say this was 2 days of stitching because, again, had a tired day. We drove down and visited my mother-in-law, and she's the one that had a stroke a little bit over a month ago, and we didn't think she was going to make it, but she's still here with us, and for that we're very grateful. So anyway, I just didn't have tons of stitching time because of that long drive this weekend. But anyway, I'm happy with what I got done, and we'll get more progress done on it this week. And then I just wanted to show you, look at those floss colors. Can you see those? Those are the colors that are in the little Women SAL. So we have got some fantastic colors coming up. I'm really super excited about this one. So that was 2 days of stitching on Little Women. I probably should have gotten a whole lot further, but like I said, we were tired. So what are my plans? I completely blew past plans last week. I forgot to tell you what I was gonna do. This week, what I'm gonna do is I want to get the border filled in for that center motif on my Quaker Turtle. I definitely want to get that filled in, and I'd love to get a start on the Quaker shape in the middle. So we'll see how far I get, but I hope to get that. I have stitched 3 days on Mary Notes, which is one of my Whip Go pieces. And if you don't know about Whip Go, it is pretty much cross stitch bingo. You make yourself a bingo board, and then Jessie Marie, her floss tube is Jessie Marie Does Stuff. She had the idea that you put all your whips into this bingo board, and then when they're called, then you stitch on those pieces. And then it's up to you to decide what that looks like. For me, I've just decided it's 5 days of stitching during the month. So because I haven't worked at all on my second Whip Go piece for this month, that's my goal. That's one of my goals for this week, is to start working on my second Whip Go, which is cardinal points. Yeah. So I would like to get 2 days at least knocked out on cardinal points. And because I've got it here, I thought I would just open it up and show you where my starting point is going to be on this. So there's cardinal points. That's where I'm going to start. And this, I think, yeah, this is 32 count white Lugana. I'm stitching with all the called for flosses, and I'm stitching 2 over 2. So we're going to get a couple of, at least 2 days in on cardinal points this week. So there's another plan for you. And then, so I've got Quaker Turtle, cardinal points, Mary Notes, and then, of course, I'd like to knock out another day on Little Women. And then if I can squeeze it in, I want to get back to playing with jacks. That's my last plan, is I want to get that done. So we are getting close. Yeah, the royal we are getting close to a finish. I've got to just get down. The pumpkins are done. It's the shelf. It's the little acorns. We talked about this a couple weeks ago. So that's the other thing I would really like to get going on. So those are kind of my plans. That's a lot of stitching. We'll see though. But I also have vacation out at the cabin. We've got some friends that are gonna join us. So sometimes when you have friends join you, you get less stitching done, although I feel like I should get tons of stitching done. We'll see where it lands. Hopefully I'll get some time in on all of those pieces. That would be fantastic. Who knows? You'll know next week. And definitely Recording will definitely be Wednesday next week also, because we are going to be out goofing around at the lake until Tuesday. So there'll be no filming on Tuesday, but I'll definitely film Wednesday and let you know what I got up to. I'm trying to think. We've done the giveaway. I have no haul to show you. Talked about Stitchy Kindness, talked about whips, talked about plans, talked about books. I think we did it. You guys have a great stitching week. I'm planning on it. Planning on a good stitchy week. And yeah, I think we're good. If you're curious, I'll just quickly tell you the dog is doing well. She is super bored. Angie has got a limp that we're trying to get her over. So she's doing better. She's doing better. Every time somebody puts their shoes on and goes out the front door, her little heart goes, "Oh, you didn't take me." One more week, and then we'll check in with the vet again, and hopefully we can start making little short walks with Angie. All right, you guys have a great week. I will see you in a week. Stitch happy, my friends, and I will see you next time. Okay, bye guys.